Okay, then I'm going to start with the floor layout. So I've got my screen all set up, the cap, and set it in place, and I kind of measured to get it to the center where the center of the base is, salt is. And then I took my tile, and I want to set the tile to make it look like the grid pattern of the grate is in the center of the tile, so it looks center of the pattern. So what I did is I took that tile, one full hexagon tile, and I stuck the center of the grate on it to where it looked like it was centered, and then I just drew a line around it to give it a root line all the way around the grate. So now I'm going to go outside and cut that. And when I'm done, I'm thinking that I'm going to end up with a pattern of a half a tile along here. So it should be a good straight full line going across. So today all I'm going to do is I'm going to put the Kerdi on the corners up here, and I'm probably going to put the Kerdi on the niche, and I'll put the Kerdi on the sides here. And then I'll put the floor down, and that'll be the end of my day. After that, and then what I'll do is I'll come back in on Monday. I'll just come back from vacation this Friday. I know, I came back early just to do this floor. And then when I get done this floor, I come back in on Monday, and then I'll do the walls halfway up to black border that'll be here. And then on Tuesday, I'll finish the walls the rest of the way up. And then on Wednesday, I'll grout the whole entire project. It'll be this floor in the main area, and the shower as well. So anyway, so I'm gonna get things set up to go here. So I've got it pretty well all figured out in my grid pattern. So I guess the biggest thing for me to do now is to get some mortar going and get some cuts going. And when I get them going, I'll be back. So I've come up with the idea that I'm only going to use half a tile at the edge, so I cut it in strips of half. So there's 6 rows to a tile, and I cut it in half. I've made 3, and it's a little bit less, so I'm going to have to take a cut off to make a straight line down one edge in order to butt up to the tile that you see there on the floor. So and how I've done that is made it easier on myself, because I set it in place, and I kind of took my marker, figured it out for one inch root line, and I put a dot on each end of the tile. And then I took, instead of using a tape measure, because it's harder to read because they can move around, is I took a piece of the paper off the box, a piece of cardboard off the box, and I took the corner of it, and then I set it on the edge of the flat piece of the tile where I'm measuring, up against the corner, and then I put a dot where I marked the tile. So now I can use that same measurement every time, and I don't have to look at the tape measure to do it off a piece of cardboard. So that's a little bit of a helpful hint. It's almost like a feeler gauge. It works pretty good. You just hold it there tight to the corner, give it a black dot, do the same thing on the other side, a little black dot, and then I just take another piece of the cardboard box, the liner, and I just run it from dot to dot, use it as a ruler, and once I get it there, I just run my black marker up it, and then there, I get a nice straight line, and I'm ready to take that out to the wet saw. So I've got the whole front taken care of, all laid out, except where I don't know the total length yet. I haven't quite figured all that out yet. I'm not going to worry too much till I get there. I'm going to start here at the center. The center will be the drain, and I'll work my way back to the tile, and then I'll continue it onto the wall, and make sure that that row is good and straight to the wall on one side and the other, as well as good and straight along with my pattern, with my black tile that's on the floor there. So once that's done, then I'll know I'll be able to run the next row up against it and just continue it on, and I'll just do one row at a time, and I'll probably just put enough mortar on there for one row at a time, so it gives me lots of time for setting and stuff like that, so I don't worry about it drying out. So anyway, so that's as far as that is for now. Let's I'm gonna go to the wet saw and do some cuts. I'll see you in a minute. Now, what I've got is I've got all the front tiles cut for the edge of the shower. And I've got a center strip running up, and I've got the back tile cut for the shower. So it works out that there's no little pieces. See how that's like a half a tile? So there's no little tiny pieces to fill in, which is perfect. All the way around the shower is like that. It's a small piece every other row on that side, because the drain, the shower base, remember, is only 58 inches this way, and then the remainder is the wall. So the center location that I started from for the drain is actually there, which is, I wanted to start at the center of one of these tiles, and I did that, and that's why it offset the measurement from that side to that side, just by a little bit, but nothing major. It won't be noticeable. It probably will be covered, actually. Time that tile's got the wall tile on it, there won't be nothing showing on it, so it'll actually look like it's probably pretty well the same all the way across. So, all right, so that's it for that. Now I'm just going to fill this in the rest of the way, get the rest of the cuts going. Then I'm going to mix up the mortar and get it going. I'll probably set in here the way I am right now and get it going and work it this way. We'll start with the center line and then we'll fill it in, and then back and forth. First of all, I've got to run a piece of curdy down that corner, and one down the back corner behind me, and one right here at there's a joint here at the wall, just so I don't have to worry about that later. I won't be able to get back on this after that. And this one here is not so crucial. They're all cut. I just have to get them on there. I can do that Monday, doesn't matter. So, but the main part is to get the corners done, get it sealed up, and then get these going. And then after that, let it set for the weekend, and I'll be back on Monday to start the tile, and we'll bring it up to here. Okay, so I'll see you in a minute. Now we get the rest of these cut, except for the corner one. I'm just going to set them in place. Now there is easier ways of doing this. If you had a stick grid that you could make and glue it all together, you see that all the time on YouTube. But I don't have the sticks here to do that, so I'm not going to do that. I'm not worried about that so much. So that works. I had these all marked as I was cutting them, so I put them in order. Checking to make sure they all fit before I get too crazy with the mortar. Has a tendency to happen is you have these all good for a box, a case, and then what will happen is you get the next case and they're just slightly on the mat different, so it messes your grout line up a bit. And another thing is the curb in the shower pan will kind of play with the grout line too, so you just have to kind of play with it and work it back into place. So there, all those fit. So now I just have that one last one in the corner to do for the first half of the shower pan, or the first half of the shower pan. And then we're into, this is really part of the floor out here. This is the same level as the floor. So the floor doesn't slope until right around where the back, my back is. And my back to the back of the wall, from the wall behind me, is straight, flat. That's just the walkway to the shower. Now, just laying that in, and how I'm going to do that. To take my longest gap. I never measure these, I just kind of eyeball them. What looks like it would be a grout line, that's where I put my dot, and then I connect the dots, and then this side. This side. I will do the same. And now, got my lines. I never take a tape measure and do this. If you do, you're going to be playing with it for days, I find. So, find the line, the dot to dot works in a straight edge. There. Now, I've got my pattern all lined out. Now I'm just going to take it out to the wet saw and cut that. And I'll bring it back in, and when I do, I'm going to mortar this half of the shower pan in place, and then I'll come out and do the rest of it and set it in place. Right back. I can do the curdy mat here on the floor, on the corner. Just gonna slap some mud on there. I have to be careful because there's a shower head that comes out right there in the corner, so I made these strips. These strips were made out of a piece of curdy mat that was done, that was left over. I just felt like there was no reason to spend money. This is and that is the same. This and the curdy strip is pretty well the same material. This is just something I cut off the mat. Does the exact same thing. And it was garbage, so we would have thrown it out. So now we used it to save money. Does the exact same thing. doesn't go all the way to the ceiling. It doesn't have to go all the way to the ceiling. And the reason why it doesn't have to go all the way to the ceiling is because the water's not at the ceiling. So really, what needs to happen is from the 7-foot level down is what needs to be waterproof. Or, yeah, and it really only needs to be water protected from really in this area. Because once you get past the niche here, I'm almost out of the camera there, that's the end of the shower anyway. So really, the rest of it's just a bonus to have. We're just going to waterproof it for moisture. Or you just going to run the trowel down over top it to kind of get it flattened out. On these corners in the bottom, I've overlapped, I've put a fold in my shower pan at the corner to make the 90-degree corner at the shower pan, the 3 angles down there. So I just used a little bit of Curdy Fix as it's folded and mortared together the same as the Curdy mat would be. And I just put some Curdy Fix right there in the corner, just 3 ways. Just to kind of make sure that that very tip of the corner wasn't gonna leak, which it shouldn't anyway. But just as a precaution, instead of using the corner, use the Curdy corner. So once you have the corner in place, you just run your trowel down or a knife. Keep that nice and flat, squeezing all the excess water out. Make sure not to get any water shoved in that way back down, back in the wall. You don't want that covered. Hard to get your pipe in afterwards. So now that's done. So if you want to get real fancy on that, you can just run a sponge just to kind of clean up the rough edge on that. That'll flatten out any mortar that you have left. And that's pretty well it. There. That's a nice job, nice and flat. Now I'm not going to worry about these corners or these top edges on the shower, where the Curdy board meets the drywall. I'll probably just run a piece of drywall tape on there, and then when I'm tiling it, just keep it bonded together. But that's all really that's necessary. You don't need to go through the extra expense to get waterproofing up above the 7-foot level. So that's it for that. I've got my base tiles taken care of. I'm going to spin you around a little bit. I'm going to work on this half of the shower. Now, I've got everything pre-cut. I pre-cut everything last week before I went on vacation. you notice I only went straight, just on the straight edge. And the reason why is because I have these little corner moldings, or corner flashings, and I glued the inside corner for that. Just have to turn them inside out to do it. So, just noticing that you're a little bit offside here. There. So then once you get them in, just flatten them out, same as you did at the other corners. Getting the SX mortar off it. Trying to get that 90-degree nice straight edge on that flashing tape. Makes it easier to go off when you run I think this one here is going to be Rondeck corner for straight edge. It's going to be a piece of Rondeck that'll go all the way around that flashing. Now, again, once you're done, you just take a rag, your sponge, clean up the excess mortar. That does a really good job, actually. And then we just continue around the whole niche. And that mortar's mixed up a little messy, and the reason why that's messy, a little brown, is because I don't want it to be too thick underneath the mat. So, thinner the better. Running my trowel there at the edge of the trowel a little bit on like a snowplow effect, 45 or 30-degree angle, whatever, and that pushes all the excess mortar out. Keeps the flashing nice and tight to the build that you've actually made, the niche. And then once you get done, again, give a wipe with the sponge, take off all your excess mortar. And then continue on. the trick to this, the cleaner you keep these tools, the easier it is for your job. You're not going to make as much mess. Again, we'll set up our flashing tape. Use the excess mortar on it. Make sure the corner is nice and square, nice and straight. The outside part of the corner. Try to catch as much mortar as you can. Don't let it drip on the floor. It's a big mess to clean up. It will clean up. Just take your sponge and clean it up if you have to. Run your sponge around, clean up your excess mortar. Now, you can get ready to do your top corners. Make sure you have 100% coverage on your mortar. Then just set your corner in. And squeeze the mortar in from underneath of it. If you don't get the mortar all the way to the end of your tape, make sure you do. Go back and peel it off and get some mortar under there, because that's how you get everything sealed up, to have a tight mortar. Again, same process. There. Now, that's the top half. Just gonna clean my trowel off. It's good to keep the housekeeping good on your equipment because it does a much better job. And you'll make less mess in your project. My hand beats flashing for that. What did I do with it? Right there. Now I don't edit any of my videos, they're all real time. So you'll have to excuse any errors in the literature, any mistakes that you see that I'm making a mess with, whatever. For the most part, I think we're doing okay. Now you see a couple different methods here. I use Kerdi Fix in these corners in this one. On the inside, I find that easier than running flashing tape around everywhere. So I've used a couple different methods here. Now, I was told that the Kerdi warranty does not cover if you don't use flashing tape on the joints. If it leaked. I don't know how true that is. I think that the caulking would be better than the tape, but anyway. So just something you might want to do. Research that. And those are curb flashings. I just use them, I flip them around instead of going over the curb on the 90s. I go inside, so I use them as an inside flashing. The only difference is they stick a little easier on the when they're not inside out, but they will stick, so not to worry. We have one more. Just get that in there in the right place. Now I made a little bit of a mess on the floor here. I'm going to clean that up before I move on. Okay. Now you just need to do the whole entire niche there. The outside of the niche. Okay. Now I'm going to move over to my corner. And I'm just going to continue that on in the same procedure. And I'm only using the front quarter of my trowel so I don't get a big bunch of mortar over here. Now, I'm not too concerned if these flashings touch the floor. They can stay up a half an inch or 3/4 of an inch because the other sheet is well above that. again, this corner here is not really crucial to the shower. It doesn't have to be done. And the reason why is because the water's not going to come over here. This is the exterior side of the shower, even though it's going to look like the shower. But we're going to put it on. Then we'll just take our wet sponge and just kind of clean up the edge. There. Now I've got one more to do right here on the edge. I'm starting to sweat buckets. It's 30 degrees outside. There's no air conditioning or air movement inside this house right now, so it's getting pretty hot. Welcome to summer. Now our last strip. And again, I'm going to stay off the floor about quarter inch or so. Quarter, half inch off the floor. Because we don't have to worry about it. Waterproof from there. I get it really clean on this one side of the seat. I don't think the tile's going too much further than that strip. We don't want to get the mortar on the paint. I'll be showing. There. Just go around behind yourself and make sure you got everything cleaned off the floor. One thing you don't want is a bunch of bumps and humps on there when you start laying that floor tile. You want that floor tile to sit nice and flat on that membrane. So, now, that's it for that part. I'm going to stop the video right here and clean up myself a little bit, clean up a couple little things around, my tools, my travel valve handle first in the mortar. So I'm going to clean that up before I go any further. And then I'll turn the video back on and we'll start laying at this corner. When I lay at this half of the shower, then I'll stop the video, get it prepped out for this half of the shower, and then that'll be the end of my day. So, if you notice, it's hot, sweating buckets. All right, see you in a minute.